If I had to sum up my entire experience with Apple devices up to this point, it would be this, the Magic Mouse. And not because it's dumb, which it is, but because it's still dumb in spite of what's so great about it. As strange as this sounds, I thought the Magic Mouse had a ton of potential, but I'm realizing after only a few weeks of forcing myself to use it exclusively that I was mostly wrong.
Allow me to explain. Stay with me.
If you're sick of seeing that same Activate Windows watermark over and over, head on over to VIP SCD Key, where they have Windows 10 and 11 Pro OEM keys at a fraction of the price of retail. Just use a secure payment method like PayPal, enter your product key into your PC settings window, and say bye-bye to the watermark. And be sure to use our offer code SKGS for that sweet discount. So yes, I've been forcing myself to use this pathetic excuse of a mouse for 30 days. Some on Twitter called me a masochist, others completely abandoned the channel, unsubbing and unfollowing in a vibrant rage against everything with a fruit logo on it. Guilty by association. You really come to learn a lot about a product when you commit to enduring even when it outright sucks. I mean, while some are willing to die on its blunt, mildly bulgy hill, I'd wager a vast majority of users actually hate it. I mean, you know it's bad when even the staunchest Genius Bar defenders can't even get behind it. I'm having trouble comprehending how on earth Apple charges near $100 for it. And can someone explain why the black model costs more than the white one? Look, most companies are guilty of this to some extent, but the degree to which Apple seemingly huffs its own farts is made no more apparent than in its naming conventions. Plus, Pro, and Pro Max for the iPhones. The fact that Max, in this Mac Studios case, is lower on the totem pole than Ultra for some reason. And of course, the sheer audacity in calling this thing a Magic Mouse. Just about the only thing magical about it is how Apple still manages to sell them in this state in 2023. There are so many poor design choices here. Starting with the obvious, it's shaped in such a moronic way that you might as well schedule an appointment with the doc for carpal tunnel before it's even unboxed. I cannot tell you how many times I had to give my hand a rest while editing my last video. It lacks any true depth, any true contours, preventing the user from being able to firmly grasp it left to right, which is important when dealing with especially complex video timelines. Whether you're a palm or a claw mouse user, the quote Magic Mouse is sure to be anything but. You'll notice there aren't any differentiated buttons on the face of it either, and while I'll admit it looks pretty clean, it ties back into Apple's self-righteous nonsense in product development. You cannot sit here and tell me that even a single designer looked at this thing fresh off the press and thought, damn, this is the one. In fact, I'd wager a vast majority hated it, but were willing to suppress those personal feelings for the advancement of Apple's Think Different agenda. And while the slogan has admittedly been phased out since the early 2000s, this was what Apple was pushing out when Think Different was a thing. I mean, don't even get me started. So we went from this, a pretty typical mouse minus the second click, to a hockey puck, to a jelly bean, to the quote Mighty Mouse, and then to this. Yikes. Now, I will say, Apple got it right with the gestures. I'm not sure how well this would ever translate to Windows if you could somehow get it to work, but the gestures built into this thing work beautifully with Mac OS. You can multi-finger swipe in pretty much every direction and select from a few actions and software. I mean, some may argue this is why the Magic Mouse had to be shaped so flat, but I can replicate similar gestures on pretty much any claw or palm grip mouse, even the really crappy, cheap Logitech ones. So I think it goes much deeper than this, tying back into Apple's need to chart its own course, even if that course leads to a mouse that looks like it was run over by my truck. Hubris, that's what this is. They're willing to flaunt it in such a way that they'd hurt the user experience in the process. Make no mistake, the Magic Mouse is about as comfortable as a cactus in a beanbag. Give it a good 5 minutes or so and you'll be dying for literally anything else. Now swap 5 minutes with 30 days, and welcome to my world. Does this unintimidating chicken leg of a wrist look like it's prepared? Absolutely not. It's why I felt the need to make this video. I told you all I'd be reporting on my entire Apple experience over the next month, but the Magic Mouse deserves to be isolated from the rest of the pack. It's so bad. It just really is. It's like the worst thing I've ever used from Apple. It's heavy, it's a fingerprint magnet, the laser is a heaping pile. People are literally 3D printing solutions because they're so dead set on retaining the Apple ecosystem. Why on earth are consumers the ones who are doing this? And why on earth are we now on the second generation of a product that was widely criticized to begin with? Just change something, please, for the love of Apple. And we gotta talk about drag on this thing, or, well, glide, whatever the mouse reviewers call it. The Magic Mouse drags like a sofa on shag carpet. If you poured wet cement over your mouse pad, your favorite gaming mouse would still glide better than this. And I think it has a lot to do with the sheer weight of this thing. I'm no peripheral expert again, but many prefer lighter mice for a reason, even if you're not necessarily gaming. The shape is one thing, right? But the physical exertion of gliding left and right and up and down is inexcusable. Couple that with an awful shape and you've a recipe for disaster. Now you probably knew this last bit was coming, the charge port. Not only is this a lightning port, but it's also on the frickin' bottom of the device. You can't charge it wirelessly, you can't set it outside and give it sun juice. You have to physically turn it on its side or upside down and charge it that way. Oh, by the way, rendering it useless in the process. Now I know folks who have purchased 2 of these mice just to ensure 0 downtime while charging. How the f does that happen? How so far up your own you have to be to sacrifice any ounce of ergonomics and accessibility for the sake of, quote, keeping the look clean. I've yet to find a single person willing to defend this, by the way.
Now, this begs the question, why didn't Apple just redesign the mouse and move the charging port to a more convenient location? 2 minutes of charging will power the Magic Mouse for 9 hours. Those complaints are probably coming from people who don't even use the product in the first place.
No, just, I can't. Again, this guy on Twitter literally built this with an at-home 3D printer.
So the technology actually doesn't exist. So it's
Wait, the technology. William, here is the technology.
honestly, it's impossible.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
That's right, he relocated the charging port. You're telling me Apple can design their own chips and cell phones, laptops, and an entire ecosystem in between, but they can't figure out how to adapt a charging port without completely redesigning their Harry Potter mouse? I do not buy it, and I don't care how long it takes to charge. You should never have to turn a mouse upside down to charge it, period. It's the final nail in the coffin. Maybe I could look past the odd shape or questionable laser or aggressively firm button actuation or egregious price or brick-like weight if they just make charging logical, but a lightning port at the bottom is a step too far.
4-year-old test. Let's see which he prefers. Okay, buddy, I have 2 mice here. I have 1 gaming mouse. Pretty cool. Okay, now I want you to try this thing right here. Move that one around and tell me which one you like better. Try this one?
I like this one.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah.
You sure you don't like the gaming mouse?
No.
You like this one more?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's black.
Okay, scrap that. So those are my thoughts on the Magic Mouse from a gaming PC user's perspective. Aggressive, sure. Brash, maybe. But honest, absolutely. Do yourself a favor, do your wallet a favor, do your sanity a favor, and stay far away from Apple's dumbest product. Maybe get yourself a trackpad instead. The Enermax Slick Max Flow series of AIOs are beefed up for the latest and greatest processors thanks to 38mm thick radiators up to 420mm, built-in VRM fans over each block, and specially designed dual-chamber pumps for increased coolant flow. Also enjoy tasteful ARGB and a rotatable cover for a clean look in any build and in any orientation. Learn more about Enermax Slick Max Flow CPU coolers by clicking the link below.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. You probably noticed that the tone and the style were different than the status quo on this channel, and that's something that I would appreciate your feedback on. If you want to leave a comment down below, let me know what you thought about both the style, the content quality, as well as the tone we took, if you appreciated the comical, kind of satirical, but critical approach to the Magic Mouse, or if you thought it was just way too much and way too forced. I understand that I can't please everyone in a single video, but by and large, the bulk of your comments usually is indicative of the path that I'd like to follow as a creator. So if you could leave that feedback, that would be super, super duper appreciated. If you're watching this around Thanksgiving and you celebrate Thanksgiving, you recognize it, I hope that you have a great time, hopefully spending it with friends and family, or maybe just some quality time alone away from work if possible. But thanks for spending part of your day to watch this one, and I will see you in the next. My name is Greg. Thanks for learning with me.